Welcome to another episode of Class Haven Farms. My name is Andy. If this is your first time here, make sure you like and subscribe and follow us along. So what are we doing today? Well, today I thought I would do an overview of my 2008 790 John Deere tractor. I've had a lot of interest in this since I've started the channel. A lot of people asking about the cab, some of the things that I've added to this tractor since buying it. So I thought this would be a good time to do it. So stay tuned. This 2008 790 John Deere is a 30 horsepower subcompact tractor. It is a gear driven tractor. It is not hydrostatic. It does not have the mid PTO, so I wouldn't be able to put a belly mower on it or anything like that. I've had this tractor for almost 5 years now. Was super happy with it the day I got it, and really have been happy with it since purchasing it. So if this 790 is something that you're looking at, if you're online looking at used tractors, to give you an idea, 5 years ago when I got this, it had just over 100 hours on it, and I paid $12,500 for it. It has done everything that I've needed to do and then some. So to kind of give you an idea of all the controls and layout of it, and I'll walk you guys around it. Light switches are here, turn signals here. Obviously this, your key here to start it. It does have, for the glow plugs, you would flip it to the left and then your red lights would come on the dash. Just start up with your glow plugs. Obviously in June, I don't need that right now. Again, gear driven here. Here is your selector for 4-wheel drive. Here is your PTO. So that's your lever to put your PTO on. This here is for your high-low. You have a diff lock on this lever here. Seat adjustment there. Loader controls here. The seat does flip up. This does have the safety switch on it. So sometimes this thing will come loose, especially if you're jumping in and out. And you'll know because the minute you go to try to put it in gear and go, the tractor will not go or will cut off on you. So just periodically, you have to keep an eye on that. I'll go over the basics of it, and then I'll show you like the cab and some of that stuff, because I know some of you guys have contacted me about the cab and wanting to know more about it. Is the 540 PTO, Category 1 3-point hitch. So drawbar is down here at the bottom. It's got the R4 tires all the way around. I think if this did have a mid PTO, you wouldn't want the R4s if you were using it for cutting, but I'm not using it for cutting. The way this one's set up, I do have 2 reverse lights here. I'll talk about that a little bit more because that was not a factory option. That was added on after this was bought by the previous owner, but I'll talk about that once I go over all that stuff. Just kind of walking you around over here. Loader controls here to raise and lower your 3-point hitch is right here. Does have a dual brake setup, and you have your throttle. So you got your foot throttle here that you can push on if you were doing loader work. That does come in handy a lot of times, especially since it's not hydrostatic. Your connection points for your front end loader are here. So it does have quick disconnects. And this 300 loader is really nice because you can lift this whole thing off, the whole loader if you want, or it has the quick attach bucket through John Deere with the pin down at the bottom, so you can pop the bucket off if you need to. Again, R4 tires up front, 5-foot bucket. This one did come with the extra high guard on it. I know some of them don't, but this one did have that. So that's kind of the basis of just this walk around. I mean, your exhaust port comes down here on the front. The tractor that I had that I replaced this with was a 1985 or 86 650 John Deere 2-wheel drive. It had the 5-foot belly mower on it. It was a great tractor, but obviously I needed something with a front end loader, something that had a little bit more horsepower, and was really, really fortunate that this one came along. Let's go ahead and we'll pop the hood. I'll show you the 3-cylinder Yanmar diesel. So to pop the hood on these, you have this latch here. You pull up, pops the whole hood up, and then this lifts up. And I'll tell you what, let me pause you guys and I'll be right back. So to raise your hood, just lift your hood up here. It does have a hood prop. It sits here in the middle. And this has the very durable 3-cylinder Yanmar diesel. The best thing about this tractor, pre-emissions. So I don't have any of the emission stuff on here. I don't have to worry about this thing going through a regen. It's kind of one of the reasons why I bought this tractor. I was looking at the 2038R when that model first came out, but to be perfectly honest with you, I think the price on that was like, for the options I wanted, it was going to be like 40 grand, and I just couldn't see doing that. So 3-cylinder Yanmar. If you're a Deere guy, you know all about that. If you have questions about that any more in depth, you can put them down in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. This thing has just been a phenomenal workhorse for me. The only thing that I've had to do is I did a video, and I'll link that up here at the top, replacing the battery a couple years ago, put a new air filter in. I am due for a service on it, so I will be changing the oil, going through the hydraulic fluid, changing hydraulic filters and all that. And it looks like I need to get some antifreeze in there. So probably one of the biggest drawbacks about this tractor is that the fuel fill up is here on the top, which kind of makes it a pain because you do have to climb up here. So you're putting a foot here on the tire and a foot here on the step and putting fuel in if you're using a can, or if you're fancy and have a pump and nozzle. The newer models, the one thing that I do like is here on the sides. So like your 2003 models don't have this, but the 2008 did do this, where they have like this little wing nut. It's almost like anybody racing cars, kind of like a Zeus fitting. And I do like that for your side panel, so you can take them off really easy. So you don't need hand tools to take those off, and that's on both sides. So that was a nice feature that they did. And I'll give them a little plug. I bought this tractor from Greg over at Marlboro Trading Post. I'll give Greg a little plug. Nice local business. He's actually helped me with a bunch of things. He just delivered that old hay wagon to me, because we're going to use that to take the houses for the goats and put those houses on that trailer. So it makes it a lot easier when I'm moving. And I know we're talking about the 790, but while I'm here, look at how much the goats are eating that hill. So they will be getting moved next week. And it's a good thing, because I think they are ready to get to that salad bar right there, because that's where they're going next. It's full of poison ivy. There's rock drainage like right in there. So they're going to have a field day with that. All right, so to get back on the 790, sorry. That kind of gives it an overview of the basic tractor. I guess the next thing I'll do is kind of go into detail here about the cab and some of the things that I've done to this tractor to just make it a little bit better for me. So pretty much the way you see this tractor is how I bought it. It came with this cab. This is a Sims cab, and the website for it is called cabdepot.com. I know some of you have messaged me and emailed me about this cab. This is a hard top. It has a hard glass front and a hard glass back. It also has, and I'll grab the door here in a little bit, it's got a door that pivots on these hinges here and swings all the way out. And then it's got a soft, I'll walk you over there. It has a soft side door here that clips in. So these are the soft sides to it. And I never used them this year because we didn't get snow. But you can see it's got the clips here. And then here on the front, I do need to re-tape these. But it's got a section that goes here, and then it goes into this tape here, which I'm going to re-tape all this. So you have one section here, and that just keeps all the air from coming in. You can see when I lift up the seat, this is the other section, and I just leave it there because I can kind of store some stuff in. So it does make it nice when you're pushing snow. I'm pretty sure the reason why we didn't get any snow this year is because I never put my blade on. So if I would have put my blade on, we probably would have gotten snow. So the kids were angry about that. They told me next year, Chicken Whisperer told me I need to put the blade on like now because he wants to go sledding down Pumpkin Hill here because that's what we call the hill. So the way this was laid out, it's got windshield wiper right here, and I'm going to go ahead and start this. So the way to turn the windshield wipers on, this was done prior to me buying the tractor, is flip your headlights on. Once your headlights are on, it gives you power here to turn the windshield wiper on. It does come in handy. I will tell you this, with the sides, this thing does fog up. So I wired up this cheap defroster, and with the defroster with the headlight on, I just tied into the electrical that was already here for the top lights and the rear lights. But with that defroster, you can't run the heat for the defroster, but you can run the fan. So you can flip the fan on, and that just blows air over here so it doesn't fog up on you. The way that I heat it is by this little propane heater here, and that's just redneck engineering at its best. Zip tied onto that post. I don't typically have to run that for long because, and I run it on very, very low because it will literally bake you out of here. Sometimes you'll cut that thing off and still have to open the door because you'll be so hot. But all of that wiring, all that was done prior to me buying this. So this was all done by the original owner. But this cab was not put on at the dealer. I did meet the owner. Interesting story. I bought this tractor, and then I sold my 650 some months later. And the gentleman that came to buy my 650 is the one that sold this tractor to Greg at Marlboro Trading Post. So I got to meet him, and he was like, "Man, that's my old tractor." It's just kind of the way it works. So he bought this without this cab, ended up painting it and putting this cab on. They did a really, really good job. I mean, all the electrical, everything, did a top-notch job. I'll show you kind of here on the inside with the instrument panels. So this front switch here controls my lights on the front, and then this switch here controls my working lights in the back. And again, everything runs off of the headlight switch. If you look here at the top, I did shortly about a year ago when I first bought this property, I was going down to bush hog the field, and I caught that on my neighbor's tree over there because at the time, all of this was about 7 foot tall. So I was having to come in on the old road that the original owner of this house used to use to get down to this bottom field. And when I did, I ended up clipping that light. So cool thing is, I have these LEDs that I'm going to put in there and replace. I was going to put LEDs on it anyway, so that just gave me more of a reason to do it. So those lights run off of that switch, and then you have the backup lights here. Now, I will say with some of the things that I use, these backup lights sometimes are hard to see when I have like the carry-on on, and I'll link that video that I made of this up at the top. So if you want to see that, you can. But the backup lights do help. It's just when you have this attachment on there, they get blocked, but you just make it work. You just lower it down. As far as what was done after this thing was bought at the dealer. I'm pretty sure that's it as far as the cab goes. I will say this, with this rollover protection bar, what I didn't take into account when I bought this at the old house was this extension piece that comes with this cab. What it does is it makes it so that the rollover protection matches the roof. I didn't think about that because when I was looking at this tractor, I wasn't thinking about the added height. So the original shed that I had at my old house, this tractor would not fit in there. So I ended up having to keep it in the carport, which somebody wasn't too happy about that. Eventually, though, hopefully we'll get a building and we'll be able to put it in here. For right now, it goes in the carport there, so it's somewhat out of the weather, but eventually I'd like to get it into a building. But if you're looking at this cab, just know they do, this piece here comes as an add-on so that you can add it to your rollover protection, so it doesn't, your rollover protection doesn't come here. I would highly doubt that this cab, if you did roll it, this cab is not going to protect you. You need this to be able to give you that protection. Some of the things that I've done to this tractor since buying it is I went to kensboltonhooks.com, and I'll put a link to his website. That's where I got these here. And instead of buying just the spacer to put underneath there, I bought this shackle here where you can put like a D-ring shackle. And I did that on each side. I've never used these, but I just figured if I was going to have to buy a spacer to put in there, I might as well put something on there that's going to be worth it. Those hooks have come in really handy, especially for pulling things. And they're simple, really easy to put on. You know, just did it myself, drilling holes in the bucket. So that was something that I did. The other thing that I have here is my quick hitch. I love a quick hitch. I've done a video on that, and I'll link that up here at the top. But that's just from Harbor Freight. Now, the one thing that I did do to make this Harbor Freight quick hitch more compatible is from Ken's Bolt-On Hooks. I bought his hook here. And basically what that does is it makes this very compatible with the iMatch quick hitch from John Deere, just by putting Ken's bolt-on hook, top hook on there. So went ahead and put this hard door on so you can kind of get an idea. It does have a line here that connects into this, but a gust of wind caught it, and I'll have to fix that at a later time. But it's got a latch here so that it stays on, and I'll walk you guys over here and show you the latch. You can kind of see it. So anybody that's interested in this Sims cab, I'll tell you, man, it's this thing is really nice. I was kind of looking forward to pushing snow with it this year, just because of how nice this cab is. I mean, for the price, I mean, just I guess looking at prices now of these tractors, of these 790s, the price on it, I was very lucky to get what I got a couple years ago. That's pretty much it for this. I just wanted to do a quick overview. I know I've had quite a few people contact me about this cab and wanting to know more about it. It was on the tractor when I bought it, so I really can't tell you how good the company is. My understanding, the gentleman I bought this tractor from, he's the one that painted this, which they did a phenomenal job. I mean, you would never be able to tell that this didn't come from the factory the way it sits now, but it didn't. So that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a little different, but I figured I might want to start going over some of the equipment that I have, because I get a lot of questions from you guys. Before I finish with you guys, I do want to show you something that I have sitting over here, and you saw a quick glance of it there earlier. So what we have over here is a John Deere GT262. Believe it or not, this was actually my old tractor. I ended up getting it. I sold it to my nephew, and it got somehow made it over to my brother-in-law, and it was sitting outside, and I was like, man, what are y'all doing with that thing? I could use it. And they said, well, we're not doing anything with it. It doesn't run. So I've done some troubleshooting on it, put a battery in it. Looks like I'm not getting fuel. So it looks like it needs a fuel pump, which these models were pretty notorious for fuel pumps going bad. I had already replaced that fuel pump maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So I got a fuel pump on the way. Get that thing going and get that running. That'll just be a nice little run around tractor, especially for taking feed down here to the goats and moving stuff around for the goats. Looks like they're all bed down right now. They must have gotten their fill. I can see, looks like Biscuit's just chilling out there. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the video here on the GT262 as we get that running. And, you know, if you like this kind of stuff, man, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us along, leave a comment down below. We're also on Facebook and Instagram under Class Haven Farms. You know, just as I said, single dad starting over, and I'm on a 6-acre homestead. We got our goats, we got our chickens, we got our meat chickens, which we're processing next week. So next weekend they will get processed. So anyone that saw the video that I did for the Vevor chicken plucker, hopefully here in the next week or two, you'll get to see that thing in action. So as always, I'll see you on the next one.